Alright, so I'm going to be discussing the claims that Tristan made in his affirmative speech. So Tristan first addresses the national debt, which is a problem that cannot be overlooked, and it's hard to refute as well, because the national debt ultimately affects all of us, but no one is entirely certain what happens if the U.S. cannot repay its debt. Where does that money come from? We're not sure. Does it come out of our pockets? There's no finger pointed at anybody, basically, but it's just kind of looming under the surface. So Tristan goes on to suggest that the Middle Eastern War on Terror is, because due to its length, is more of a political issue than a military issue, to which I would ask why. Because the core of the issue is about radical Islamic groups in power, and we try diplomacy, but how do you reason with those whose primary goal as a religious crusade is to cleanse the land of infidels, those who don't follow their devotion? And so he goes on to mention about how Al-Qaeda has not been defeated in the time we were there. So do we just leave them undefeated? Do we just walk out of there with the battle half over? What's the point in making all that progress to get up to this point and then throw it all away? He also goes on to suggest that we're not supported by Middle Eastern countries. However, he does not back this up with any evidence. And I have a quote here from Iraqi President Barham Salih again, who had, this quote goes, he said he recently had a long conversation among all the other major political groupings of the country, and there is, quote, general consensus that Iraq needs that collaboration, as in collaboration with the U.S. military and with the militaries of other prominent countries that have that kind of firepower to handle these militant Islamic radical groups. Tristan also suggests that the U.S. is not, Tristan also suggests that the U.S. is not making an impact in these countries, and by engaging in counter-terrorist efforts there, we're making a mistake, basically. However, according to the Watson Institute at Brown University, the U.S. is involved in counterterrorism in over 76 countries right now. So if we withdraw from Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq because we haven't finished the battle, why not? Who's to say that the rest of these countries don't deserve our help either? Now, his final point that I would like to discuss is that this money that we are spending on the military is better spent domestically here on the home front. And this is, while it's true that we could be using this to benefit ourselves and our education system, just consider, at what point does our right to luxury overcome the basic rights to safety and freedom that we value so highly as Americans, that we fight for in these foreign lands? You know, what is being able to afford a candy bar at the store versus being able to walk home knowing you'll be safe, knowing you won't be kidnapped by a radical Islamic group? Thank you.